You know the one. You're falling, or you're being chased and your legs won't move, or you're standing somewhere you shouldn't be and every person in the room is staring at you, or your teeth are coming loose in your hands. You wake up, heart pounding, the dream already dissolving, and you lie there in the dark thinking, that was so real. Here is what nobody tells you. That dream, the exact one you just had, is being experienced by someone else right now. Not a similar dream, the same one, same scenario, same feeling, same biological response. Researchers have documented identical nightmare content across every culture on Earth, every language, every continent. People who have never met, never shared a story, never even lived in the same century. The same nightmares, over and over again. This is not a coincidence, and the explanation is far stranger than anyone expected. In 1900, a Finnish folklorist named Ernst Stenbeck began cataloguing dream reports from rural communities across Scandinavia. He was not looking for patterns. He was doing ethnographic fieldwork, recording the everyday lives of ordinary people. But he kept finding the same thing: the falling dream, the chase dream, the teeth dream. Descriptions that matched so precisely they could have been written by the same person. They weren't. Decades later, anthropologists began finding the same patterns everywhere they looked. A 1984 cross-cultural study by researchers David Folks and Marcella Kerr documented dream content across 7 countries spanning 4 continents. The surface details changed. Who was chasing you shifted by culture. The landscape looked different. The faces belonged to different people. But the core scenarios were identical: falling, being chased, being frozen, losing teeth, being watched, arriving unprepared, trying to scream and producing no sound. Every culture, every era, every human being. Something was generating the same content in minds that had never communicated. The question is what? And the answer requires going back much further than any folklorist ever looked. Your brain spends roughly a third of your life running a simulation. You call it dreaming. Neuroscientists call it something more precise. In 2000, Finnish neuroscientist Antti Revonsuo proposed what is now known as the threat simulation theory of dreaming. His argument was direct. Dreaming is not random. It is not your brain processing noise. It is not meaningless static generated by a resting nervous system. Dreaming is a rehearsal. Revonsuo examined thousands of dream reports and found that the majority of dreams contain threatening events, significantly more than waking life does. Your brain is not replaying your day. It is running threat scenarios, testing your responses, simulating danger so that when real danger comes, you are not encountering it for the first time. The nightmares are not a glitch. They are the program running exactly as designed. But this still doesn't explain why every human shares the same ones. For that, you need to go back roughly 300,000 years. Your ancestors did not live in a world where danger was abstract. Danger was specific, immediate, physical, a predator in the dark that could outrun you, a fall from the rocky terrain your tribe moved across, a moment of social exposure, being seen by the wrong person at the wrong time, that could mean exile, violence, or death. These were not metaphors, they were the actual conditions of survival, and your brain encoded them, not as memories, not as stories, as threat templates, biological programs running below consciousness that your nervous system still executes every time you fall asleep. The falling dream is the oldest one. Researchers believe it predates language itself. A 2009 study by psychologist Kelly Bulkeley at the Graduate Theological Union in Berkeley analyzed dream content from ancient texts, Mesopotamian clay tablets, Egyptian papyri, early Greek and Roman records. The falling dream appeared in all of them, identical phenomenology. The sudden drop, the lurch in the stomach, the jolt awake before impact. Your body's response to the falling dream is also not random. The hypnic jerk, that involuntary muscle spasm that wakes you as you drift off, is now believed by many sleep researchers to be a vestigial reflex, a remnant from a time when your ancestors slept in trees. A sudden drop in muscle tone as consciousness faded triggered an emergency response. The body jolted itself awake before it could fall from the branch. You no longer sleep in trees. The reflex is still running. The chase dream works the same way. In a world with actual predators, the ability to mentally rehearse being hunted was not a luxury. It was a survival tool. Studies of REM sleep in mammals show that the brain regions responsible for fear, threat detection, and motor response are highly active during dreaming. Your amygdala, the brain's threat processor, does not distinguish between a dreamed predator and a real one. It fires the same way. It floods your system with the same chemistry. Your heart rate climbs. Your muscles prime for movement. You are being chased. Your body believes it completely. And that belief, that total physiological commitment to a threat that doesn't exist, is precisely what makes the rehearsal work. Revonsuo's research found that people who regularly experience chase dreams show faster threat detection response times in waking life. Your brain is training you every night without asking. The teeth dream is different, and in some ways, darker. Cross-cultural studies consistently rank the teeth dream among the most common nightmares reported by adults globally. Teeth falling out, crumbling, being pulled, spitting them into your hands and standing there holding them. For decades, the popular explanation was Freudian: anxiety about appearance, fear of aging, sexual symbolism. But evolutionary researchers have proposed a different reading. In ancestral environments, your teeth were not cosmetic. They were survival infrastructure. Dental health determined whether you could eat enough to survive, whether you could defend yourself, whether you read as strong or weak to others in your social group. Losing your teeth was not embarrassing. It was a death sentence delivered slowly. The teeth dream may be encoding the most primal form of physical vulnerability, the body beginning to fail in a way you cannot stop. A 2018 study published in the journal Frontiers in Psychology by researcher Gina Fantozzi found strong correlations between teeth dreams and actual dental irritation during sleep, suggesting the brain may be monitoring physical vulnerability in real time and translating it into nightmare content. Your ancestors couldn't visit a dentist. What they could do was lie awake at night, absolutely terrified of what a crumbling tooth would eventually mean. That terror is still running inside you. The exposure dream follows the same logic: standing somewhere public, underprepared, underdressed, unprotected, every eye in the room finding you. Social exposure in ancestral environments carried genuine risk. Being seen as weak, unprepared, or different from the group could mean exclusion. And exclusion, for a species that survived entirely through cooperation, was not a social inconvenience. It was a death sentence. Your brain still treats social threat with the same chemistry it uses for physical threat. A 2011 study by researchers Naomi Eisenberger and Matthew Lieberman at UCLA demonstrated that social rejection activates the same neural pathways as physical pain, the same regions, the same signals, the same biological response. Being left out still feels like being hurt, because for 300,000 years it effectively was. The exposure nightmare is your brain rehearsing the worst social scenario it can construct, making sure you know what it feels like before it happens in waking life. Here is what makes all of this stranger. These programs are not learned. You were not taught to fear falling. You were not shown what a chase feels like and then began dreaming about it. Children as young as 2 years old report falling dreams and chase dreams before they have the language to fully describe what happened. The content is not cultural transmission. It is not something passed down through stories. It is pre-installed. Neurologist and dream researcher Mark Solms at the University of Cape Town has spent decades mapping the neural architecture of dreaming. His conclusion is precise. The nightmare content that humans share is generated by brain systems that are among the oldest in the human nervous system. Structures that were already ancient when language was new, already running when the first human looked up at the stars and wondered what they were. You did not inherit these nightmares from your parents. You inherited them from something much further back. Tonight, when you fall asleep, your brain will wait for you to lose consciousness. Then it will begin. It will run the old programs, check the old threats, rehearse the scenarios your ancestors needed rehearsed to survive. The predator in the dark, the fall from the height, the body beginning to fail, the eyes of the group finding you. You will wake up with your heart pounding and the dream already dissolving and the feeling that something just happened to you. Something did. Your brain just ran a 300,000-year-old rehearsal. It ran it in the same architecture as every other human alive, in the same architecture as humans who have been dead for 100,000 years. The nightmare is not a malfunction. It is the oldest thing inside you, running perfectly, every single night, waiting for a danger that never quite comes anymore. But your brain doesn't know that. It never got the message that the predators are gone. Tonight, when you close this video, your brain will keep running. And maybe that is the strangest part of being human in the modern world.